So think of it this way. Joy and humor are a practice. It's not a one-time thing or an idea that you get or don't get. If I get up and do a bunch of exercises and repeat them, over time, my muscles will get stronger. Joy and humor are just like that. The first three ideas I'm going to give you of the next 10 of the 10 come from my friend, the writer Katrina Kennison, whose books and blog I encourage everyone to check out. Number one, at the end of every day, write down a few bullets of things that delighted you that day. Do this especially during COVID because it helps prevent the days from running together and keeps you focused on ending each day positively. This is not the year. This is clearly not going to be the year to get everything you want. This is the year to appreciate everything that you have. And writing down your delights and joyful moments every day will help you and will help this whole season from blending into one long time. Number two, give 4 hugs a day. Safely, in your bubble, please, but 4 hugs a day. Seriously, 4 hugs a day. We are becoming hug atrophied, and it's affecting our internal joy and humor. The great family therapist and one of the great giants in psychology was a woman by the name of Virginia Satir. And she said that she felt that a 5 hug, and I'm giving you a little easier, a 5 hug minimum, what was needed for mental well-being every day. Even if the first thing you do is you start in the morning and you just hug yourself, which is a wonderful practice if you do yoga or anything else. So 4 hugs a day. 3, there's lots of opportunities out there and you can find them anywhere, but get a deck of question cards and use them to stimulate conversations every night at dinner. Part of the problem with COVID is we've never been more together physically and yet have less to say to each other. Let me just say that again. We never have been more together physically and yet have had less to say to each other. And sometimes we need a little support. And these question cards, whether at dinner or opportunities, taking walks with your kids or your spouse, they are training wheels for COVID conversations and good starting points that can bring a lot of joy into your life. 4, commit. And there's a difference between engagement and commitment, or involvement and commitment. What's the difference between involvement and commitment? Think about breakfast this morning. The chicken's involved, the egg's committed. I want you to be committed to 1 degree of change a day on joy or humor. 1 degree a day. That's it. 1 degree. Over time, like money, it will compound and it will grow. So here's the thing, we are born with what psychologists call our emotional set point. This is our genetic wiring for happiness, joy, and positivity. And that constitutes roughly about 50% of our personality. So when we talk about nurture nature, most people in my world say that they settle more on the nature perspective, or at least that's irrefutable, and it composes about 50% of our mindset. Then our environment, either our past history or the environment that we are currently in which we are formed or currently exist again, makes up about another 20% of our response to life, right? So right away, about 70% of how we go through the world, how joyful we are, how happy we are, how positive we are, how much laughter we have, about 70% of that kind of already is there. And you can work really hard to change that. But I want you to know that what that leaves is 30%. 30% in house money for you to begin trying new things in which to change your outlook and your attitude. It may not seem that much, but in psych terms, 30% is a massive number. And if you could increase 1% a day, at the end of 30 days, your life, guaranteed, promised, will be different. Now, what to focus on in those 30 days? Remember this: when it comes to humor, don't try to be funny. Just try to have fun. Let me say that again. When it comes to humor, don't try to be funny. Just try to have fun. Now, for all kinds of reasons, including the aforementioned dissected frog, trying to be funny is a challenge. But if you focus on having fun every day, just 1% more, you will be more funny and you will feel more joy. Or try to learn something new every day for 30 days as your 1%. Start small and trust that momentum will build. 5, just connect. As the writer E.M. Forster said, just connect. Truly joyful people have one thing in common. They have plenty of good social relationships. These include interactions that psychologists refer to as social snacking. I love that, social snacking. It's like little ways of connecting with other human beings, including strangers. Nicholas Epley studied 2 kinds of commuters, 2 kinds, non-talkers and others, whether those others were either introverted or extroverted, but they were talkers. Now, the chatty commuters, that's the introverts and the extroverts alike, didn't matter that they were just chatty, when they got on a train or they got on a bus, reported, if they just started talking to other people, they reported the most wonderful commutes. Regardless of the type of person they connected with, they consistently felt more joyful on days when they connected and chatted away. Yes, camaraderie is comforting because that gives us the feeling we're all in this together. We connect on the common ground, and sometimes there's even magic that occurs when we have our lives opened in new and surprising ways, which would not happen unless you connected. Number 6, be nice. Be nice. Research shows repeatedly that if you do a few good gestures a week, maybe 3 to 5, a few good gestures a week, you feel happier and you're more joyful. This does not need to be a grand gesture. It doesn't need to be massive. It could fit into your 1%. At the store, let someone in front of you. Give a compliment to a stranger. Choose to make your spouse happier 3 times this week. Make your efforts other focused, and as Lin-Manuel Miranda famously penned, talk less, smile more. Number 7, here it comes. Learn a magic trick or a few of them. Learn a magic trick or a few of them. I do magic everywhere I go. It is the greatest way I have ever traveled. It is the great tip that I can for anybody who travels, which is learn 3 or 4 easily reputable magic tricks, and you will be fabulous. You will connect in. You will bring so much joy into your life and the lives of others. And I have done magic in the Mara of Kenya. I have done it in the ashrams of India. I have done it in speaking no Quechua or Spanish in squares in Peru. But learn a few magic tricks. And a great place to start is to go to Tannins. Tannins, T-A-N-N-E-N-S. Tannins in New York. And it's a great place to check it out. But I wouldn't want to let you off today without teaching you this magic trick. So here's one that you can try, and you could try it this evening at the dining room table or with some friends or on a Zoom call, however you want. It's a pretty good one. And it's a mental trick, so you don't need any props, you don't know how to do any sleights of hand, nothing like that. So I'm going to do the trick first, then I'm going to teach you how to do it. So here it is. First, I want you to pick a number between 1 and 10. Pick a number between 1 and 10. Okay? Everyone got a number? All right. Now, whatever that number is between 1 and 10, I want you to multiply it by 9. Multiply it by 9. Pick a number between 1 and 10 and multiply it by 9 to get at another number. If it's a double-digit number, add the 2 digits together, whatever the number is, to arrive at another number. If it's a single-digit number, just take that number. Okay, so now we all have a single-digit number. Number between 1 and 10, multiplied by 9, add the 2 digits together, or just have that number. Now, take that number, whatever it is, and subtract 5 to arrive at another number. Now, once you have that number, what I want you to do is to find, and I hope you're still with me, the corollary letter in the alphabet. A is 1, B is 2, C is 3. All right, so now you're at a letter in the alphabet, hopefully. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to think of a country, English pronunciation, that starts with that letter. Okay, got a country in mind, English pronunciation. Take the second letter in that country's spelling, second letter, and think of an animal, a large animal that starts with that letter. Now, think of the color of that animal. So you've got a country, you've got an animal, and you've got a color. Moral of the story, there are no gray elephants in Denmark. I hope I got that for most of you. All right, so let me teach you how to do that if you want to learn it. So the magic of this is that it is a force, and a force is where you think in magic you have free choice, but you really don't have as much choice as you feel. So any number between 1 and 10, when multiplied by 9, when the 2 digits are added together, will give you the number 9. Unless, of course, you picked 1, which you would still end up at 9. So we all should hopefully be at the number 9. Then we subtract 5, and then hopefully we're all at the number 4. Then notice what I do. I say, now find the corollary letter in the alphabet. A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, and that's kind of a trailer. And you're going, ooh, even if you're terrible like me, I don't do public math. Ooh, D is 4. D is 4. Then I ask you, think of a country, English pronunciation, that starts with that letter. Most people, not everybody, but most people are going to pick what? Denmark. Take the second letter in the country spelling, think of an animal, then I do a little throw in there, large animal. Where do most people go? They go to an elephant. And what color is an elephant? An elephant is gray, and thus no gray elephants in Denmark. It's great, it works all the time with lots of people, and it's fun to try it. Number 8, plan for the future. Plan for the future. Today, the days and weeks, especially this winter for us all, will run together. It's Bland's Day all over again. You know that scene from The Godfather, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Wednesday. You have to interrupt this cycle. Make your Sunday the day you plan and fun for the next weekend. So one idea is to think about Sunday as the day you plan for the next coming weekend. Now, good idea about how to plan is to think PEP, P-E-P, physical, escape, people. Physical, escape, people. That is, in other words, a mix of physical activities that will energize you, escapist activities that will relax you, and time spent safely with people in your bubble who will make you laugh or bring you joy. This will help you both in the moment to bring more joy and fun into your weekends, but also it will help in the sweetness of the anticipation of what's coming of the next weekend. Number 9, argue in another voice. My friend David Knudsen owns an island in the heart of the North Canadian wilderness. Many years ago, he and his former wife decided to spend the winter on their island, a place they usually only summered. They thought it would be interesting and educational for their two small sons. Romantic, maybe. Problematic? Definitely. I mean, picture yourself for 4 months in a cabin no bigger than the average living room, surrounded by 10 feet of snow. No phones, no TVs, no electricity, no running water, no internet, just you, your family, and only the variety of different ways you can create to entertain yourselves. Now, under ordinary circumstances, an argument or a fight can be difficult and maybe even disastrous. But my friends came up with a brilliant solution. Every time they fought, they did so no holds barred. You were allowed to say anything and just get it out with the following rule. They had to speak in a Donald Duck voice, kids included. Whatever they were upset about was croaked out just like Donald Duck, just quacked out their grievances. The result, no argument lasted over 10 minutes without them bursting into laughter. This is the most perfect practice, I think, for pandemic living. And finally, lastly, write a hope note and leave it for people to anonymously find. Write a hope note and leave it for people to anonymously find. Years ago, and when my daughter, she was just out of college, and now she is gorgeous and a 34-year-old fabulous teacher at a school in New York and doing wonderful work at the Horace Mann School. Anyway, Kate was feeling a little depressed and blue. She just didn't know what to do. And she was a great outdoorist. She loved the outdoors. And I decided the way, dads do, and in fact, I'm a stepdad, dads do, is that I was gonna just pull every lever I could and create the most inspiring weekend for her. And so I put together a weekend in New York City. And, she was about 23, 24. She'd never been in New York, lived in New Hampshire, just never gotten down there. She tended to spend most of her time in the woods. And so we drove down to New York. And the first night we were there, we went to this massive gala, and she sat next to these really famous people. And we went to a gala on women adventures called the Wings Conference. And she was quiet and she was watching. And the next day, she went to a small luncheon. And at the luncheon, she was actually able to sit with all of these 10 famous women adventurers and be with some older, very famous New York socialites. And Kate just got really quiet. And she's normally kind of quiet. That afternoon, I took her to MoMA and we walked around and I said, oh, look, see that painting? See who donated that? You had lunch with them. See that painting? You had lunch with them. And Kate got quieter and quieter. Then that night, I had arranged an evening at a friend who was one of the founders of the Moth. And we went to hear his one-man performance, which was about his marriage and the breakup and relationships. And afterwards, he met with us and we talked, and Kate got quieter and quieter. Then the next day, I took her to an art opening of a friend of mine who is a brilliant, well-known photographer who was in her 70s at the time. And she had done a series of photographs of her naked with just masking tape, various parts covering the essential parts. And Kate got quieter and quieter and quieter and just about disappeared. And I have to tell you, I was pissed. I mean, I had pulled all these levers, all these strings, all these relationships, all these things that we were going to do, including, by the way, that night we were going to meet Jane Goodall, someone I work with, Jane Goodall, for a drink. And Kate just disappeared. And I felt so incredibly unappreciated. So we're having lunch and we were going to go out and I was going to plan a whole shopping thing and this in Soho and other events that we were going to do. And I was kind of fuming and there was only one bathroom and Kate had gone in and then I went in and I walked in the bathroom and there on the mirror was a Post-it note. And on the Post-it note, it said, "You are loved." And I looked at that note and I thought, ugh, what a schmuck I am. Kate doesn't need me to do anything for her. She just needs me to love her and to support her and just be present with her. She doesn't need me to fix anything for her. And so I came out of there and I said, hey, how about this? How about we just cancel today? We're going to go have drinks with Jane, of course. But rest of the day, let's just walk back uptown about 4 or 5 miles, just hang out with each other. And we don't need to do anything. Let's just have fun. And the look of relief was just palpable. She took a big sigh, said, oh, that'd be great. And she grabbed my arm and we started walking uptown. Well, as we were walking, I said, you know, I just had the most amazing thing that really changed my perspective. I walked into the bathroom and there someone had put anonymously a Post-it note on the mirror and it said, you were loved. And it really changed my point of view. And I'm sorry for trying to fix you. And she just had this wicked smile on her face. And I said, what is it? And then she reaches her pocket and pulled out a stack of Post-it notes. And they all said the same thing on them. You are loved. And what she had done was to make herself feel better during this difficult transition in her life. She was going around putting these Post-it notes everywhere as a way to anonymously bring joy into other people's life. It was her practice of humor and joy to combat her depression and her frustration. Now, she didn't know when she went into that bathroom and put that note on the bathroom wall that I was going to find it. And when I went in, I didn't know that she had put it up there. But that was a perfect story about the impact of anonymously doing wonderful things to others, of putting those notes and leaving them for others to find. So we're just about up at the time. I hope you found some of these ideas interesting. In conclusion, before we have time for a few questions, I leave you with this quote from a favorite writer, Annie Lamott. She says, joy is the best makeup. Joy and good lighting. Thank you.